Hey, good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Worcester City Council held this Tuesday, February 18th, 2020. We're meeting today because Monday was the celebration of President's Day. And I'll note it's after 7:30 p.m. Now, our next meeting will be Monday, March 2nd, 2020. Mr. Paulo, if you would, please call the roll.
Mr. Ansel?
Here.
Mr. Bostancic?
Here.
Mr. Cavan?
Here.
Mr. Myers?
Here.
Mr. Sanders?
Here.
Mr. Silvestri?
Here.
Ms. Warden?
Here.
Well, it's nice to see everyone, and we do have a quorum. The agenda will remain as presented. Now I would ask you to join City Council in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I will look for a motion to approve the minutes of February 3rd, 2020.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Warden to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Silvestri. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The minutes of February 3rd, 2020 are approved. Well, communications from the mayor. Hopefully you don't have much more to add after presenting the State of the City address. It was a nice look in the past and a great look forward, so thank you.
Thank you, President Buitendijk. Really, nothing further to add. I think I've already burned up enough of my time on things. I would just like to note some folks here in the audience I think are interested in what is going to take place on the third reading resolution concerning the property. And one person I should note, Mike Hedberg, who is the economic development person for the city of Orrville, has been in communication with us because this is something that Orrville has done a few times in the past, and he said that if people would have questions, that he'd be happy to try to answer them for folks. So Mike, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it, and as I say, they've been down this road at least twice before, and I think are working on the third industrial park over in their city. So, and that's everything I had. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's no petitions, and 3 people have signed up with regard to speak tonight. The first one is Mark Gooch. Mark, if you would come to the podium, state your name, even though I stated it, and give your address, please.
I'm Mark Gooch from 1636 Gashty Street here in Worcester, and I was asked whether I was for or against the property purchase for the industrial development, and I'm not sure that I'm either of those. I think I just wanted to share some comments. So while I understand the purchase of the property to develop for industrial purposes, I do wonder about the cost of the purchase of the property and the installation of the utilities, and hopefully then we're able to recoup all of those costs when we do sell it to a developer in the future. But I feel as though it also in some ways sets up a precedent. So we're going to go ahead and purchase that property for industrial development, which I fully understand. But I also know the mayor in the last couple of years has mentioned the need for housing, whether that be affordable or just housing in general. So does the city consider that there's property that maybe they should buy, run utilities to, and then sell to a developer in that regard? And so I just wanted you to keep those sorts of things in mind as you consider this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Shannon Waller. Again, state your name and address.
Hello, my name is Shannon Waller. I'm the Executive Director of Main Street Worcester, whose address is 377 West Liberty. And I am here in support of the purchase of property from the Bell Farm. Our mission at Main Street, I'd like to just acknowledge the trustees that have also attended because of their interest. Our current chair, Sue Williams, our prior chair, Greg Broom.
Thank you.
our future chair, Andrew Dix, and our design committee chair, Pat Nyhart, and we all support this endeavor. Main Street's mission is to help the downtown Worcester thrive, and this might seem like it's sort of adjacent to that mission, but our goal is to help the downtown just be a successful place. But we have a lot of really important support from big organizations like United Titanium, like Scheffler, like Worcester Brush, that aren't necessarily benefiting from Window Wonderland that we bring downtown or any of the farmers market sounds of downtown, but they care about their employees' morale. They care about their employees' standard of living. They care about their employees having a good quality lifestyle. And so that's why they invest in Main Street Worcester, and that's why we support this strategic investment in the growth of the Worcester community. So I wanted to be on the record for that, and thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
Thank
And finally, Tom Pugish. Again, state your name, address.
Absolutely.
My guess is you're here from the Wayne Economic Development Council.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Tom Pukish, 907 Park Village Drive, Louisville. I do represent the Wayne Economic Development Council tonight. I serve as their president. We work, with hand in hand with the municipalities and the villages and the private sector to create a vibrant economic development community. And I do speak tonight on just to render my opinion. You guys are probably tired of hearing from me, but I'm really excited about this opportunity that's before us. An opportunity to grow our industrial land base. It's one thing when you look at our community, we really do have a shortage of land, and it might not seem that way. We did an absorption study that was commissioned by the WEDC in 2015, and back then, at that moment in time, they said we really need you need about 160 acres to get you to about a 10-year inventory, and then in another 5 years, you're probably going to need about another 117. So nothing has happened, in that time. This is in Wayne County. This isn't specific to Worcester. But when you look at the area, we really need to develop our land so we can continue to grow. I like this for many reasons. The mayor spoke tonight about the Polycom ranking. When we had Bill Fruth in town, we brought him in here to speak and to kind of educate us on the actual process of it and where we were going. And he took me to the side and said, "Hey, I'm really worried about you don't have any land." And I was like, "Yeah, we have land." He's like, "No, you don't have any land as far as for your future growth. That's something you really need to focus on." And that's why I like that this is in front of us. I like that Mike Hedberg from Orville is considering this as well. Both communities are really taking a proactive approach to reinvest in their community, and I think that's great. I like the price. It's a very competitive price. Not sure you can get that deal anywhere else. The location is ideal because it butts right up against infrastructure. You're dealing with one owner at this point. You have control. You can control who goes in there. So you can control the price. There's a lot of flexibility with that. The state is really interested in this. I can't tell you enough. They want to. They've reached out to us to help. Maybe allocate some resources for the due diligence to get this park up and running. Companies are always looking for buildings, and when you look at really Northeast Ohio, we're very shy on buildings. So the next thing is land. So this will really put us in a position to continue to grow. So most importantly, though, as I've stressed before, the businesses in this community are really growing. And because they are growing so quickly, we need space for them to expand into. Chances are we might land new business, but this land, as I look at it, is for our existing businesses as they continue to grow. So thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'd personally like to welcome Mike Hedberg. I've known him for longer than I'd like to remember. I think both our hair was a lot darker when I first knew him. So welcome, Mike. It's good to see you, sir. We don't have any committee reports since from last time we met, and no public hearings. So that brings us to unfinished business, which is resolution number 2020-09, is on its third reading. I think it's the reason why most people are here this evening, because I know they're not here for my charming personality. So before we get to you, Ms. Warden, I will have Ms. DiPaolo read the title.
Resolution number 2020-09, a resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to enter into a contract with 5L Farm LLC for the purchase of land and declaring an emergency.
Ms. Warden, the floor is yours.
Thank you. As discussed during the previous two city council meetings, the city of Worcester is seeking council approval to enter into agreement for the purchase of 5L Farms, which consists of 138.66 acres of land for the price of $2,026, or $14,424 per acre. This is well below market price of approximately $25,000 to $35,000 an acre for shovel-ready sites with utilities in the area. 5L Farms is located between Melrose Drive and Guyers Chapel Roads, and upon council approval, the city would seek annexation of the property that does not currently lie within the city limits. As I stated, the site is shovel-ready with municipal water and sewer services, and upon the completion of Daisy Way, it will be fully accessible by industrial-grade roadways. City administrators intend for this land to become the home of a publicly owned industrial park. Council members have received messages of support from Wayne Economic Development Council and the Worcester Growth Corp., and we've been told by city administrators that it would receive Site Ohio authentication through Jobs Ohio, making it a top-marketed site throughout the state. There are currently only 22 certified sites currently in the state of Ohio, and only one of those is located in Northeast Ohio at the time. And all but 4 of those sites are community-owned, which is interesting. The Director of Administration has provided council members with additional information regarding this potential purchase, and notes that there would be an immediate return of approximately $10,000 from farm rental on the very first year. Additionally, Worcester Growth has offered to contribute $200,000 toward the purchase from the sale of its Long Road property. The city's finance director has proposed that the city pay cash for the land using 2020 appropriations and issue $2 million of debt to fund the project that were presented as part of the 2020 infrastructure plan. Those infrastructure projects would still be completed by issuing $2 million in tax-exempt bonds. This would allow the city to take advantage of the tax exemption benefits of bond funding while still fulfilling our commitment to our citizens to improve our infrastructure. I personally believe that this creates an excellent opportunity for industrial growth and the potential to bring more jobs to our community. So I move to adopt Resolution 2020-09.
Did you move to adopt?
I did, yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Your voice dropped there at the last
Oh, I'm
minute.
sorry, I need to
And my bad ears.
work on my diction, I'm
My
sorry.
bad ears that way, so motion to adopt by Ms. Warden, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Silvestri. Comments, questions, additions? Mr. Myers?
I just wanted to reemphasize what Mr. Gooch brought to the attention, and I talked to Joel Montgomery a couple of meetings ago. I really want to emphasize, it's important that the city look at maybe doing some things we haven't normally done in the past in order to help with the housing situation in our community. The businesses that are growing need places for those new employees to live. Mayor Brennan has mentioned, I think, in the last 5 State of the City addresses as well, as commercial development needed as well as housing. So I think we should look at areas where we can invest in our own infrastructure, where we can extend utilities to certain parcels that are suitable for residential housing, and make that investment to make it possible for developers. I'm not suggesting we need to buy the land per se. I think it's a different situation with housing, but I do think we should do the things necessary to support that. I think we talked a couple places. I don't need to go into a lot of detail. We have a lot of opportunities to do so. One of which was up at the corner of Oak Hill and Milltown, where if we can extend services to that area, there's almost 100 acres, some of which is for sale, some could be for sale. The landowners just don't currently have it for sale. So there's almost 100 acres, which would be very close to the high school, close to Oak Hill Park, be excellent for residential development. And if we could do something to help that move forward, to help with our housing problem, or CRA tax incentives, or whatever we might need to do, I would encourage the administration to pursue that as well as this other opportunity. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Ansel, and welcome back. We missed you
It's
last
good to be
meeting.
back. I missed everyone here on
Oh, yeah.
council also. I want to start by highlighting the unique opportunity before council this evening and compliment all the players and participants involved in this bold and creative initiative. Initially, I was making challenges, and it's an important decision, and I did that intentionally to create the opportunity for my fellow council members to really go out, engage the public and the business leaders' sentiment regarding this initiative. It is a speculative endeavor, but we all know that land is a commodity that is not easily available, and we do have funding options that are very creative that can make the cash available with minimal risk and minimal long-term debt load. Interest rates are the lowest ever, and Andre's done some creative bundling of refinancing to create cash, and when you can make investments for less than 2% interest in a long-term strategic initiative, that's rare and unique and certainly opportunistic for us to embrace. I've not had an opportunity on my time on council over 16 years for really a more unique initiative, and I commend the city administration's vision and Jonathan and the entire team for bringing this before council, because it's unique, it's interesting, it's compelling, but the dozens of people that I've had the opportunity over the last month to survey, business leaders, co-workers, other municipal leaders, including Mr. Hedberg. He gave me a couple of hours of his personal time to really weigh in and validate this forward momentum that we're about to vote on this evening. And it was very productive. And out of the dozens, and I mean literally dozens over the last few weeks, and Mr. Nyhart can attest to the fact that about one of those dozens was at a local watering hole, but it was absolutely unanimous that we cannot miss this opportunity. I mean, it really is that rare, the location, the value, the flatness, the utilities, and the overall deal in itself is just unbelievable. And the feedback that I have received, and I want to share it with you because you all heard some of the challenges that I made in executive sessions. This is unanimously supported as a long-term strategic direction and initiative for the city of Worcester. And I want to highlight Tom's comments that, he's forecasting conservative a 10 to 15-year inventory value. We hope that that's true. So thank you for the opportunity to wait for my return for this important vote this evening, and I look forward to supporting this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I'd just like to say, and it was completely unsolicited, I have a friend who's a farmer that farms over 1,000 acres, most of which he owns himself, said when he heard the price that we were getting this for, he was willing to offer them $1 more because he said he couldn't believe the value of the money that, this property brings. And he said that in his opinion, and having bought a lot of land, he says there's no way the city of Worcester is going to lose money on the deals. So, and I respect his opinion. He's done very well farming. Mr. Silvestri.
Yes, I would just add that I think every council member here has taken this very seriously, as evidenced by the fact that this has gone the full 3 readings. It is an extremely rare opportunity and a bold move by our city. I commend our mayor's leadership, because without the history to back up this kind of an opportunity, we wouldn't be in a position to take advantage of it like we are tonight. So very rare and extremely bold move, but I think we can't afford to pass this up. We can always change direction, we can always modify, but the opportunities to continue our kind of growth in this direction with this kind of momentum are just second to none. So like I said, it's just an opportunity that we can't afford to turn away from or to not support this evening. So I'm excited about it. It's close to home. It's in my ward. I'm looking forward to what this looks like in another 5 and 10 years. And I pledge that I will continue to go in the direction of residential housing. It's very important to me, and it will continue to be important to me. But for this big chunk of land to go in the direction that I hope to take it tonight with my vote is just a rare opportunity, and I look forward to the results. Thanks.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, I will turn to you, Mr. Paulo, and ask you to call the roll on the motion to adopt.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Bastancik.
Yes.
Resolution number 2020-09 passes, and I think it's a wise decision by everyone involved, and I thank everyone in the audience for coming in support of this, because this is going to take us into the next 10 to 15 years, as Mr. Pukish pointed out. So thank you very much. And now Andre is the one that's going to be stressing, trying to figure out how all the finances work. So good luck with that, Mr. Dordia.
Thank you all for coming.
Turning to new business, the first ordinance tonight is number 2020 dash, is that right?
Yep,
01?
yep.
Seems like we should have more than one by now.
I
But
thought so too, but it's not.
okay, well, that's what that says, and anyways, I looked at it and it just looked odd to me.
Yep.
So this is slated for 3 readings. It's presented by Mr. Sanders. It's one of those housekeeping items we do every year to update our codified ordinances to mirror the changes in the Ohio Revised Code. Before I get to Mr. Sanders, you weren't down at the Daytona, were you? I just wonder, I knew that you like race cars.
Well, I was down there a month ago, but not recently.
Oh, I was just wondering, pretty exciting finish from what I understand, even though it was a day late. So anyways, I digress. So would you please read the title, Mr. Paulo?
Ordinance number 2020-01, an ordinance to approve and adopt current replacement pages to the codified ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Sanders, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, we have, as already previously been stated, we've got some items in traffic code and then also general offense code that have been changed, either been amended, enacted, or repealed. And at this point, there's really nothing more to, don't believe, to review tonight. This will give everyone an opportunity to go through these. You know, if you have questions in 2 weeks or before, you know, we'll get those answered, and if everybody's comfortable with what we've got, then we'll look at moving this along in 2 weeks. But that's,
Yeah, well, frankly, we don't have a lot of choice. The revised code is the revised code, and you're not going to change the legislature's mind, so.
right, and
So-
it's more to satisfy our own questions than anything else.
That's
So-
right, that's
so,
right.
There we go.
All right, we'll consider ordinance number 2020-01 as having its first reading, and I know you gave some hard copies to people, one of which is Mr. Silvestri, so enjoy your bedtime reading there, sir. That brings us to resolution number 2020-10. It'll be presented by Mr. Bastancik. It's slated for 3 readings. Would you please, Mr. Polo, read the title?
Resolution number 2020-10, a resolution appointing an assessment equalization board for the Highland Road reconstruction project and declaring an emergency.
Okay, Mr. Bostancic, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. This resolution is the first of two, which equalization boards we need to approve this evening. This one happens to be for the West Highland Road reconstruction project. This resolution will also appoint 3 members to the board. The 3 that have agreed to give their time are Bob Metz, Steve Webster, and Rob Kastner. This board will hear any objections to assessments for this project of any of the residents that are affected. I would just like to quickly point out that the assessments, the whole project is $1.285 million, and the assessments are only going to take care of $115,000 of that. So it's a very, very small amount that will be assessed for this project in relation to the whole cost. So whether that's any consolation to anybody who gets a bill for this, I don't know, but it is I think it is a very small amount for the amount of money involved. So, but anyway, questions?
I've been contacted by about a half a dozen residents in the area regarding the assessments and some other things. And one of the questions was, what's the actual need for a sidewalk on the south side of this section? We have a sidewalk on the north side. South side is basically backyards and pine trees. I know we have a rule where we always put in sidewalks, but when they're not necessary or don't serve a purpose, it might be something we should reconsider.
You mean on Highland?
Yeah.
Highland?
Yeah, I'll let Roger speak for himself on this, but I've been, in the past, have heard that anytime we do reconstruction on a road like that, there are curves, gutters, we're going to put in sidewalks, and for the safety and security of the residents. And I can't, but I'll let Roger take care of this.
So on this project, there's sidewalks on the south side between Tatum Run and that first road, which bless you. Okay? It's between Tatum Run and I think it's Autumn Run that goes into the meadows. We didn't extend it down to Oak Hill because of grading, but I think in that section, you could actually stay on the sidewalks. You'd never have to cross Highland and stay in the meadows. So I would argue that, yes, I think it is important to have those sidewalks there. And typically, when we redo roads, we put in sidewalks.
But in certain sections where you just said you're not going to, you just decided not to.
Well,
So
because
there
of
are
the
times
gra-
when you
because
decide
of the
to,
grading,
decide
we'd
not
have
to,
We'd have to get more temporary and cut more trees down.
which I would prefer us not to do either.
This is the project where we had, about a year and a half ago, a petition not to cut any of those trees down, and I don't believe any of them are going to be affected, so.
I think we talked about that before. We're not cutting down any trees in that
You're
area.
not cutting the pine trees down, no.
There are no more questions. I would like to, because of the need to, the city would like to get this set up so if there are any objections, we wouldn't have to come to council and set the board up and then hear the objections. So while there is no really a time constraint, it would help the city in the long run if we can just, if we can put this on third and final reading.
All right.
Hopefully approve it tonight.
Motion to
Get a head
suspend,
start on things.
motion to suspend the rules by
Second.
by Mr. Bostancic, second by Mr. Ansel. Would you call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules?
Bostancic,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel,
Yes.
Cavan.
Yes.
Okay, the rules are suspended. Mr. Bostancic?
I move to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Bostancic. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Silvestri. Would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Bostancic,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Silvestri,
Yes.
Warden,
Yes.
Ansel.
Yes.
And Cavan.
Yes.
Resolution number 2020-10 passes. Resolution number 2020-11 will be again presented by Mr. Bostancic, and it's in a similar vein as the one we just recently passed. Before I get to you again, Mr. Bostancic, I'll turn turn to Ms. DiPaolo and ask her to please read the title of 2020-11.
Resolution number 2020-11, a resolution appointing an assessment equalization board for the Sunset Lane reconstruction project and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Bostancic, the floor is yours again.
Well, thank you. Well, as I promised, this is the second resolution for a equalization board, and this one is for the Sunset Lane reconstruction project. The same three gentlemen I mentioned earlier have agreed to be on this board as well. Again, of the total funds on this, the total cost in this project, about $790,000, $63,000 will be assessments. And this board will hear any objections to the residents who get assessed as to the amount. So pretty much the same thing we just did, but different project.
Okay.
Just
Any
a quick
questions?
a quick question to Roger. How many actual complaints or have been filed already regarding the assessments?
There has been none on Sunset.
Okay,
I just wanted to do this in case there is one. I think there's a couple days left.
okay. How many do we get on the previous one for,
On Highland, I believe there's maybe 8 of them now.
okay, okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, don't quote me on that number. I didn't count them, but I think it's about 8.
I have a question. Are any of the dollars for the Sunset Lane sidewalks going to be coming from the Safe Routes to School program?
Yes, all the sidewalks will be built with Safe Routes to School monies.
Okay.
Yeah, the roadway project will just do the grading for the sidewalks.
Okay, thank you.
Again, no other questions. I would like to put this on third and final.
Motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Bostancic. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Ansel. Would you please call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules?
Myers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Silvestri?
Yes.
Warden?
Yes.
Ansel?
Yes.
Cavan?
Yes.
Bastancik?
Yes.
The rules are suspended. Mr. Bostancic.
Move to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Bostancic. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Warden. Would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Myers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Silvestri?
Yes.
Warden?
Yes.
Ansel?
Yes.
Cavan?
Yes.
Bastancik?
Yes.
Resolution number 2020-11 passes, brings us to the last piece of legislation this evening. And I believe it's a budgeted item, and it'll be presented by Mr. Silvestri. And before we get to you, Mr. Silvestri, I will have Ms. DiPaolo read a resolution one last time this evening.
Resolution number 2020-12, a resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to advertise according to law and enter into a contract with the lowest and best bidder for the purchase of certain materials for the water treatment plant.
Mr. Silvestri, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is to authorize our Director of Administration, as was read by the clerk, to enter into a contract and purchase specifically soda ash. That was soda ash, and we would like the quality of your water to remain consistent. I'm proud to say Worcester has really good tasting water, and we want it to remain that way, and we do this every year, just like you, if you have an old-style water softener, and you ever lived out in the country and needed to use one of those, this is a similar process. So that soda ash is used to remove elements that cause what they call non-carbonate hardness, and it removes the anions of sulfate in the softening process to improve the taste of the water. So we went to third shift operations this year, and that coupled with pricing increases, that amount has bumped up a little bit from last year, but like I said, we do this every year. It's necessary to keep our water tasting as good as it does. Even if you're one of those people that have a filter on your fridge, you can thank the City of Worcester for what we put in the water to get it to you in such a good condition, a drinkable condition. So, like I said, it is budgeted, so it does not require suspension of the rules. So with that, I move for adoption.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Silvestri. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Myers. Any further questions?
I'm just curious, how many, are there multiple companies that really supply soda ash, or is that something you get?
It's commodity. Seeing nothing further, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Sanders.
Yes.
Silvestri.
Yes.
Warden.
Yes.
Ansel.
Yes.
Cavan.
Yes.
Bastancik.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Resolution number 2020-12 passes, which concludes the legislative portion. Now, there is an executive session being requested, but we'll hold that, and I'll tell Mr. Rooney, who's probably anxious to get his front page article about the purchase of the 5L farm done so it can be on the front page. So I will make sure we do not do anything that, in terms of passing any additional legislation. If you would like to get a head start on your article, or you're more than welcome to stay here since your boss is gone and is not supervising you. I told him I'd keep an eye on you in his absence.
And please note, his boss left early.
Yeah, I know. So that being said, I would request a motion to go in executive session to discuss possible litigation. And I should point out, it's under 8.06E3 of our charter and not our ordinances. So
So moved.
but that's the thing. A motion to go in executive session by Mr. Myers, second by Mr. Ansel. Would you call the roll, please, Mr. Paulo, on the motion to go in executive session?
Silvestri.
Yes.
Warden.
Yes.
Ansel.
Yes.
Cavan.
Yes.
Bastancik.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
All right, we are now in executive session. I will entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved?
Motion by Mr. Silvestri to come out of executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Warden. Would you please call the roll on the motion to come out of executive session?
Silvestri.
Yes.
Warden.
Yes.
Ansel.
Yes.
Cavan.
Yes.
Bastancik.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Sanders.
Yes.
Okay, we are back on the record, having come out of executive session. Move to the miscellaneous portion. First of all, I'd like to recognize the mayor and our city engineer is gone, Roger Kobelarsek. They weren't afraid to roll up their sleeves and wash pans and other things there at the meal that we had for the employees on Friday. The mayor was there Thursday and helped clean up with regard to the making of the meatballs and cooking of sausage. He was scrubbing all the big sheets that those were cooked on, so thank you. And Roger did a lot of the cleaning up of those types of things on Friday after the meal. And it was a good time, I hope, had by all. And rumor has it everyone got their fill of pasta, meatballs, and sausage, salad, and Texas toast this year.
And cookies.
And cookies.
Mr. Beideck, you were right in there with us doing all the meatballs and cooking and scrubbing pots and all that.
Hey, I'm just a minion of of Josephine Howie. So when she says, you come do it, I'm there, no questions asked. So, but thank you. You guys, that's what a lot of people don't see. And I think that's what's great about Worcester is no matter what role you play, people aren't afraid to roll up their sleeves and get their hands dirty. And speaking of duty, we don't see Mr. Gibbons out of his office, so it's nice to fill in for Mr. Scovelli, who I will thank for putting together the agenda, although I think he made enough mistakes that he's not going to replace Mr. Paulo anytime soon. But thank you to John, and good seeing you, Kevin, so thank you for coming. So that's my say. So we're going to start with Mr. Silvestri, who had the last word with regard to legislation.
Thank you, Mr. President. I guess, speaking of rolling up our sleeves and getting our hands dirty, I didn't know how many people saw the couple of short videos about our city services. There was the wastewater treatment plant, or our wastewater reclamation facility, I think we call it now. I thought that was a very, very well done. And then the other video on our police department, 2 short videos about City of Worcester departments. It sounds like there's more to come. But fantastic job. I thought they were great. It's great to give people kind of an inside, informal look at part of our staff that makes Worcester the wonderful community that it is every day. So well done, and got a lot of work done this evening. Happy that all of council supported the purchase of the land, and we look forward to into the future in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Silvestri. Ms. Morton?
Thank you.
Yeah, you spent a lot of money tonight, I'll just.
I did. Hopefully that means I won't go on any shopping sprees in the future. So I'd like to thank everyone that contacted me in support of, or, to voice their concerns about the purchase of the 5L Farms. I think I can speak for all of our council members when I say that we take your comments very seriously, and I think that we all took that into consideration when we made the decision this evening. I'd also like to thank Mr. Beitendijk and Mr. Mayor Brenneman and Roger and everyone else that made the luncheon possible on Friday. I was there, and it was a lot of fun. So it was nice to see some of the retirees, from years gone by in Worcester. That was great. And on a personal note, if you would indulge me for a moment, my great-grandmother turns 101 this coming week, so I'd like to wish her happy birthday because she watches. She's one of our audience members. So happy birthday to Margaret Collins.
Does she have a name? Does she have a
Her
name?
name is Margaret Collins, and she's a dear woman.
Her picture was in the paper today.
It was, yes. There was an
Happy
announcement.
birthday, Grandma Collins.
Yes, quite an achievement, so thank you.
Nice.
All right. Mr. Ansel, who's back from his junket to Arizona.
Nothing more this evening, Mr. President. Thank
Okay.
you.
Well, welcome back. And
Good to be
looks
back.
like you got a little sun while you were there. Good for you. Mr. Cavan.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to thank Mayor Brenneman for the State of the City address that he provided for council here, and along with the slideshow. I thought it was very well put together, very well shown here. Hey, I had a quick question, though. As far as the southeast quadrant, had we planned on putting any electric car charging stations there?
So with the ones up on the north quad and also over in North Buckeye Lot, and also behind Freeman, there's not much block.
Yeah,
But we knew where you meant.
yeah.
We have them, in numerous places, so
Uh-huh.
I don't see us doing that in that southeast quad.
Okay, just curious that was one of the things I had noted, but again, thank you.
Mr. Bostancic?
Nothing more at this time.
Mr. Myers?
Thank you, President Beitendijk. I got to hear the mayor's presentation twice today, and I thought it was well done. Nicely done, well-spoken today at both meetings, so thank you for all the hard work you put in on that. Appreciate it. The City of Worcester, there's a group of folks that, in our community, they're going to be conducting a celebration of the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote. I want to bring it to people's attention. There will be exhibits at the Wayne Historical Society and a number of events. The one I want to point out for folks that might be seeing this on television or otherwise, there will be a parade that will take place on April 18th through Worcester. And the reason I'm bringing it up is the application to participate in that parade, the deadline is March 16th. So that's coming up in about a month. You can get the applications to participate at the Wayne County Historical Society, down at our public library downtown, or local routes. If you have any questions, you can reach out to myself. Ms. Warden is on that committee. And there's Commissioner Becky Foster is also participating, College of Worcester President Sarah Bolton, Margot Brow, whose office is next door to here to this facility. There's just a group of people that are working on it, so if you need to get any further information, I have some, or you can reach out to them. But the deadlines to participate in the parade is about a month away, so I want to let everybody know that.
And Mr. Sanders will give you the last word, sir.
With all the information that's already been shared, I have nothing to add.
All right, Mr. Ansel,
Motion to
welcome
adjourn.
back, and thank you for motioning to adjourn.
Thank
Is there
you.
a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Silvestri, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.